I will take it. Back-to-back winning days here on the channel with our MLB best bets. Looking for a third consecutive winning day today. I know the NRFI does not hit yesterday, so now we are only 31-10 in our last 41 NRFIs. Still pretty good, but let's try to tack on another one today, along with, of course, a third consecutive winning day. Folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB best bets here on the channel. According to YouTube's analytics, over half of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure to do so if you have not yet. It helps out the channel a ton if you do these two things, like and subscribe. So if you're enjoying, make sure again to do both of those. And before we get into the MLB best bets, Greedo plays MMA this week, our UFC Sacramento predictions, and later today our PFL Tampa predictions. Again, yesterday 3-2 for us. How about that comeback from the Kansas City Royals? Stephen Kwan comes through, as well as the Milwaukee Brewers and their 22-0 win. Let's go. First to 5 best bets today for Major League Baseball. We've got action, of course, all day long, and we're kicking things off first in Queens, New York. I did kind of say a couple days ago we were going to take the Pirates against the Detroit Tigers because Paul Skeens is pitching today. He's pitching against Jackson Jobe. For the value, it's awful. I think the Pirates win, but at minus 145, I'm good. I'm good off that. Jackson Jobe could put together a good start, and although I think Paul Skeens has gotten extremely unlucky this season, I'm not taking the Pirates at that price. Instead, I'll happily take San Diego at minus 125 on the road. The Padres are making the playoffs. For as much as I've clowned this team at times this year, as you know, for as much as we've cheered on their downfall at times for how bad their bats have been, I feel pretty confident in saying the San Diego Padres are going to the postseason. Okay? I think it's pretty clear who the teams are going to be in the National League in the playoffs. I don't know what the order will be, but Braves, Dodgers, Brewers, with both Chicago and Philadelphia still potentially having chances to win their division, and likely the Padres for the final wild card. There is still an outside chance Arizona could do it. That's the one team that I could see getting in there, but the Snakes have lost 3 in a row. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about the Diamondbacks in a second. Regardless, in a couple minutes. Regardless, I think the Padres are going to get in right now. I don't think they're the greatest, but you've watched them play in the second half, and it does feel like a different team. And when their bats have been, well, at least more on than they were, at least in the first half of the season, they are dangerous, of course, because they have one of the better bullpens in baseball. Sure, it is the most overworked bullpen in baseball, as they've pitched the most innings out of their pen this season. Still, the Padres are very scary with a guy like Mason Miller out there. Adrian Morejon would be a closer on most teams in Major League Baseball this season. No Morejon tonight, by the way, because he got 5 outs yesterday with 38 pitches, but Mason Miller certainly can pitch. He hadn't pitched in over a week, or about a week going into yesterday's game. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to come out here for a second night of a back-to-back if, of course, the Padres are winning late in this contest. But I like San Diego to beat the Mets again today. This is the rubber match of the series, as the Mets were able to win a competitive one on Tuesday. That was the game where we had Nolan McClann. McClann didn't come through with the strikeouts, and Carson Bench bailed out McClann quite a bit in the contest as the Mets won 2-1. Yesterday, 5-2 win for San Diego. How about Fernando Tatis Jr.? The power was non-existent in the first half of the season, but like the rest of this Padres team, Tatis has been brilliant in the second half. Fernando all of a sudden is at 15 home runs, so likely finish with at least 20, and sure, that would be the lowest of his major league career. Actually, well, I mean, 20 would be the lowest of his career, but I mean, we're starting to get back on par with what Tatis does every single season, recently at least. I understand, you know, the OPS isn't where it should be, and regardless, Tatis had the big play yesterday to rob Francisco Lindor of a grand slam. Tatis, though, has been significantly better recently, batting .280 on the year, 780 OPS with 15 home runs, 2 of which coming yesterday. 1 to lead off the game, and then another one in the 5th inning, and of course in between that, right, the rob of a grand slam into right field of Francisco Lindor. Padres win the game 5-2. How about Luis Rengifo? Right, Rengifo's been a huge get for this Padres squad. He was awful in Milwaukee this year for the Brewers, and in the entire season, he still got a 650 OPS, but he's been significantly better as a Padre. I mean, this guy was basically unplayable in Milwaukee. He is now a 2-hole hitter for the Padres right now. Manny Machado, don't look now. He's been better, hit a home run yesterday. Ty France has been the glue guy all year long for the Padres. When this team has not been able to figure it out, Ty France has been the one dude in the lineup that you can kind of rely on. Jackson Merrill has been better recently. I'm kind of impressed with what the Padres are doing. Got to be honest. And they're sending Michael King to the mound today. Michael King is quite good at 3.41 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. The Padres have won 3 out of their last 4 with King on the mound, 3.71 ERA in the month of August. Back-to-back starts in productive fashion against the Cleveland Guardians and the Houston Astros, especially that start at home against San Diego, or in San Diego against Houston. He went 6 innings, 3 hits, and 1 run. After that, against Cleveland at Progressive Field, we've got to start with 6 innings, 8 hits, and 3 runs. You know what? I'll take it. We'll see what the Mets do at the plate today. The Mets have been better at the plate recently, of course, dating back to that National Series where, of course, they came up clutch in literally every single game that they played in that 3-game set. They did only score 2 runs on Monday, and then yesterday only 2 as well. Francisco Lindor, of course, gets robbed of the grand slam, but you got Bo Bichette, who's been swinging a better bat. Carson Bench and A.J. Ewing, the 2 lefties, are very difficult to deal with, especially Bench. Ewing has struggled a little bit recently. Luis Torrens always finds a way to contribute when I bet against him. Whenever I watch the Mets, Luis Torrens is always really good. I don't know. Homered against the Nationals a couple days ago. Yesterday, Luis Torrens hits a solo shot in the bottom of the 5th to get the Metropolitans on the board. I don't know how Luis Torrens only bats .243 with the 700 OPS. It feels like he's significantly better than that. But again, that's just when I watch the Metropolitans. The big reason, though, I'm taking the Padres today is because of the pitching matchup. Yes, Michael King going for San Diego is huge, but at the same time, the Mets are starting Robert Stock. Yes, 36-year-old out of Bellevue, Washington. Robert Stock is starting today with a 6.57 ERA on the season. Now, it's only 3 starts, I get it, and that ERA is very inflated because of one outing he had against the Pittsburgh Pirates in which he only went 3 innings and gave up 8 runs. And I will say Stock responded in his last start against the Washington Nationals. Was he great in that start? Actually, yeah, you could argue that. 0 earned runs against Robert Stock in that game against the Nats on Friday. Nats score 1 early with a Brady House single up the middle, but Stock, again, that's an unearned run for him, and ultimately he goes 4 1/3, 3 hits and 1 run. Again, that 1 run, though, was unearned. You're not going to see Stock pitch that much in this game. I think max he goes 5 innings, and that's really pushing it. The Mets are really using him as primarily just an opener. Technically, he still is the relief pitcher bill, but he has been starting / opening games recently for New York. And the way the Padres lineup has been turning recently, I do think they see quite a bit of success against Robert Stock. I mean, Tatis feels like one of the more tougher outs in all of baseball currently. Of course, we've talked about Rengifo, the second half emergence of Jackson Merrill. Yes, Manny Machado may only bat .215, but the numbers and the power numbers have always been there this season. He's still got a 720 OPS, despite the fact, again, he's really struggled average-wise this year. And of course, it's always a factor. How about that Padres bullpen? Surprisingly, the Mets have played some really good baseball in the second half, as the Metropolitans don't look now are only 3 games back of the Washington Nationals. And it's not too crazy to say. I kind of believe it. I do think the Mets are going to finish with a better record than the Nationals this year. Even though, I don't know, but the Nats still have the weakest strength of schedule in the sport. But man, they just can't figure it out. Maybe we'll have more on them later today. Actually, well, we're going to have more on the Nationals. We cover them every single day. But the Nats still have the weakest strength of schedule in baseball. So it's tough to say that the Mets are going to finish with a better record than them, but maybe they will. I don't know. Mets are only 3 games back currently of Washington. New York 50-70, Nats 60-67. You don't trust the Mets bullpen, though. I don't. I'm sure you don't either. Of course, they sell off on that bullpen at the deadline. That's what the Mets did in general. They sold the deadline, and surprisingly, they have gotten better since. Right, you still got Devin Williams as your closer, but with him on the IL right now, it is Kodai Senga. Senga hasn't given up a run as a reliever yet. Sure. Yeah, Kodai Senga on the season still has an 8 ERA with a 1.7 whip, but as a reliever, he's been really good for the Metropolitans. Their late innings guys, Daniel Duarte, Nate Lavender, lefty, Dediel Nunez, Jeffrey Yan, of course, who does the splits every time he strikes a batter out. They actually haven't been that bad recently. I can't hate. Those guys have been pretty good. Sure, that was against the Nationals most recently, but I think, they've been much improved. And this is without Juan Soto. This is without Devin Williams. Credit to them. They've played good baseball. I think the Padres will win today, though. This is a team that has playoff aspirations, and I do ultimately believe they are going to accomplish those playoff aspirations. And I don't trust Robert Stock. Even if Stock is decent for 4 innings, then you have to turn to that Mets bullpen for another 5. And I know I just said, the Mets bullpen has been better. It has, 100%. It's still not a bullpen, though, I rely on to give me X amount of innings, right? In the 9th, I can't believe I'm saying this. Yeah, Kodai Senga is going to be great, but if you need them to pitch a majority of a game, it's probably not going to go their way in comparison to how great the Padres bullpen is, of course, with a Mason Miller. Obviously, no Adrian Morejon today, which does suck, but Miller is already penciled in for the 9th. You've got Estrada, Peralta, Rodriguez, Matsui. You've got arms, and I like San Diego to win this game on the road. Give me Padres money line today to kick off the video at -125. Yes, I chose this over the Pirates. I just think, for what each game is priced at, I do believe this one is significantly better. And oh, by the way, if you need one last reason to pick against Robert Stock. Here's the Savant page. 5 expected ERA on the season. The only thing that really stands out for Stock positively is that average exit velo. Yeah, I'm going to take the Padres in this contest. Padres minus 125. On to our second best bet of the video. Let's keep it rolling with money lines here. I'm going to take a shot. Going to take a shot on the Diamondbacks. Like I said yesterday, and I understand this did not go our way yesterday when I said, you know what, the value's too good to pass up on with the Washington Nationals. I'm going to try it today with Arizona. I'm going to make that same case right now and say, yes, I do believe the value is too good to pass up on the Snakes tonight. I do think it is. And I'll say this right now, we are not doing a player prop today, even though shout out to Stephen Kwan. He cashes for us quite easily. Kwan walks 3 times, scores 3 runs and a hit. Perfect. That guy's an on-base machine. But we're not going to do a player prop today. I've decided, of course, we will have a NRFI, and then we're going to do 4 money lines. I'll tell you right now, 2 money lines are favorites, 2 are underdogs. So they're all going to balance each other out today, okay? Like we're going to have a sizable favorite coming up with the money line, to be honest. Actually, no, they're not that sizable of a favorite, but they are a bigger favorite obviously than the Padres that we just had. But we're going to have 2 underdogs here, and here's the first one. Arizona plus 130. I think it's worth a shot. I really think it's worth a shot. Yes, has Peyton Tolley been one of the best arms in baseball this season? Absolutely. And recently, Peyton Tolley has been unbelievable. I'm going to take a shot with Brandon Pfaadt. We've been taking Brandon Pfaadt a lot, and he's continued to do very well for us. Why not try again? I'm serious. Man, the Brandon Pfaadt turnaround's insane. We went from Brandon Pfaadt being an automatic fade earlier in the season to now kind of relying on him as an underdog to get us one at plus money. Brandon Pfaadt last 14 innings has not given up a run. Those innings were against the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. The Arizona Diamondbacks have won 8 out their last 9 with Brandon Pfaadt on the mound. The one game they lost was against the Dodgers in extra innings where Brandon Pfaadt went 7 shutout. 1.88 ERA in the month of July, 0 ERA in the month of August. After being converted back from a reliever to a starting pitcher, Brandon Pfaadt has a 1.3 ERA. Some really good stuff out of him. Do you trust the Red Sox to beat him? I don't. You know, Arizona, I know they've been beating up on the Diamondbacks so far in the series, and it's a huge swing for Arizona, of course, because of the way the Padres are playing right now. They really need to win these games, and Boston's already taken back-to-back against them. And obviously there's some controversy / just weird stuff going around with the Diamondbacks right now with Ketel Marte. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the Red Sox have dominated the series so far. They've gotten out to early scoring starts. Yesterday, 3 runs in the bottom of the first for Boston off of Merrill Kelly. Actually, Gabby Moreno had a grand slam in the top of the third to retake the lead for the Snakes. But after that, it was literally all Red Sox, as after Gabby Moreno hit the grand slam, D-backs didn't score again. So ultimately yesterday it's 9-4 in favor of Boston. On Monday's game, Boston wins 11-1. So again, the Red Sox have outscored the Snakes 20-5 so far in the series. I think Arizona is able to salvage it a little bit. I'm still not wowed by the Boston lineup. I'm not. I know Adley Rutschman hit his first Boston home run yesterday. That's great, as Rutschman did that in the bottom of the third to tie the game immediately after the Moreno grand slam. I still don't buy him, really. I mean, I've watched the Red Sox against, I've watched them against the A's. I've watched them against the Blue Jays. They weren't particularly great in Pittsburgh as well. And sure, they're seeing great success so far in this series and at home back at Fenway Park, which is kind of interesting because they were so awful at the beginning of the season at Fenway. Now it seems like they are, yes, significantly better at home, which is fine. I don't trust the lineup against Brandon Pfaadt. I don't. And do I trust Arizona to score runs on Peyton Tolley? I don't know if I can say that, but I think they're going to get at least a couple runs across. I think they're going to get 2. Peyton Tolley looks pretty indestructible right now. His last 2 outings have been just dominant against the A's. 6 innings, 2 hits, and 1 run. It was a solo shot, and oh yeah, how about 14 strikeouts for Tolley? Last outing against Toronto, 8 shutout. Only had 4 Ks, but 8 shutout speaks for itself. ERA in the month of August is 1.35. Struggled a little bit in July. Why? Because he ran into the Washington Nationals. The Nationals, who are still the league's highest scoring offense. It doesn't feel like that's going to stand, but maybe it will. They might barely hang on to that. Tolley's last bad start, and the reason he had an ERA of 5 in the month of July was when he faced the Nationals. July 1st, Washington scored 6 runs off of him in 3 innings. Yeah, and he hasn't had a bad start since. It's just crazy what the Nationals were a month ago. Before they traded Curtis Mead and Luis Garcia, and man, I mean, I don't know, It's depressing. they were one of the better teams in the sport. They won 2 of 3 against Boston. They were crushing the Red Sox. They did crush the Red Sox. And a couple weeks later, you trade Curtis Mead to Boston. You trade Foster Griffin, who had a great start yesterday for the Guardians against the San Francisco Giants. You trade Luis Garcia, who I understand has struggled recently with the Yankees, and I get it. Avi Ortiz has been really good, but man, I don't want to get too carried away on the Nationals because we will speak about them later, but it's kind of the message you send to this team. We're not really trying to win anymore, and that's what's happened. The Nationals did not want to win this year with the highest scoring team in baseball, and that's what you get. Forever stuck in hell, right? I mean, it's so crazy to me. And it puts it into a greater perspective when you see, Peyton Toley's been phenomenal. Guys, when Peyton Toley gave up 6 runs in 3 innings to the Nationals, his start prior, he went 7 shutout innings against the Yankees at home. It's not like he was bad in the month of June. He posted a 3 ERA in June. He was great in June. He was great in July with 1 bad start against the Nats. He's been great since. 8 consecutive starts for Peyton Toley have all been phenomenal. The 1 bad start is against the Washington Nationals all year long, or since at least, early June, where he had a bad start at the Trop against the Rays. Just kind of crazy what the Nationals decided to do this year. And they're going to trade if you haven't seen, CJ Abrams is not very happy with going to second base. It's looking, I believe it's at like 95% CJ Abrams is going to get traded in the offseason because he wants nothing to do with playing second base here. And I understand a lot of teams are going to want him to play second base, but I think he'll be much more accepting of that with an organization not named the Nationals because CJ knows they're not going to pay him ever. So he wants to get out, and I don't blame him in the slightest. So the Nationals have no future. They're going to go back to being probably a bottom feeder. Well, they're still a bottom feeder, but they're going to continue to be that for years on end. Unfortunately, there's just no future for our team. But Peyton Toley is really great. I think Arizona's able to get a couple off of him. I'm hoping to. Name of the game, drive that pitch count up. See some pitches, right? Get that pitch count going. If you only have to see 6 innings of Peyton Toley, that's a victory. Brandon Pfaadt, I think, is going to be able to hold his own at the same exact time. I just saw Brandon Pfaadt hold his own against the Dodgers and Braves in back-to-back games. And look at the last 4 starts for Brandon Pfaadt. 7 shutout against the Pirates, 6 2/3 of shutout baseball. 6 2/3 of 0 earned runs for Pfaadt. There was 1 run that scored, but 0 earned for Pfaadt against the Padres. 7 shutout against the Dodgers, 7 shutout against the Braves. Is Boston really the team to crack the code? I'm going to say no. Arizona had used a lot of their pen yesterday. That's fine. Brendan Pfaadt should probably be able to get them 7 because yesterday Merrill Kelly struggled quite a bit. That's okay. The Ketel Marte thing's odd. He no-showed. They put him on the restricted list, and now they're saying, look, he's got the knee injury. Now he's getting an MRI. And now apparently he's going back to Phoenix. Really weird. Immediately when I heard, Marte's a no-show, I thought Yoenis Cespedes with the Mets. Not really. I guess they're cool, but I don't know. It's some really weird stuff. Torey Lovello is saying, we're hopeful he'll be back this season. That doesn't sound great. You're in the midst of a playoff push, and now you're saying, we don't know. He's got personal issues, but now he's got the MRI. Now he's got the knee injuries. Now he's getting the MRI. I don't know what's going on. Really weird stuff. But obviously no Marte here. You'd love to have Marte in this spot, I'll tell you, right? Marte against a lefty. You'd love to see that against the monster. So instead, Ildemaro Vargas will be batting in the leadoff spot for the D-backs playing second base. Okay, that's fine. The D-backs have their fair share of guys that can hit left-handed arms. So, we're going to see the same lineup that Arizona put out yesterday against Ranger Suarez, right? Moreno, it's the grand slam off of Suarez. So you're probably going to see literally the same lineup. Ildemaro Vargas, Corbin Carroll, Gabby Moreno, Perdomo, Tawa, Lawler, McCann, Fernandez, Waldschmidt. Not horrible. It's not. Arizona's been decent. I still think they have an outside chance of getting in over the Padres. I just think speaking in terms of consistency for the rest of the year, I think the more consistent team, not to say consistent a million times, but that team is San Diego over Arizona. And that's why I do believe the Padres right now are going to get into the dance over the Snakes. Even though Arizona's the one team that might be able to get the Dodgers. We keep talking about the Dodgers' easy path to the World Series, or at least to the NLCS. It's not that easy if you have to see Arizona in the first round. What if they have to see the Padres in the 3-6? Well, first of all, it's probably going to be Atlanta in the 3 spot, but if it is the Dodgers, I'm sorry, Dodgers-Padres games are fun. The rivalry is cool. The Dodgers own the Padres. That's the truth. Especially in Los Angeles, the Padres aren't doing anything. Arizona, okay, now we're talking. Regardless, I'm going to go with the Snakes here. I think the value's too good to pass up on. Plus 130 for Brandon Pfaadt, who has won 8 of 9 or 9 of 10 on the mound. I'm going to take those odds. I really will. Brandon Pfaadt's gone 28 innings now, giving up 1 run, but really that 1 run was unearned. So, the the earned run streak for Brandon Pfaadt's up to 28 innings. Pretty remarkable. Actually, he gave up 2 runs in the first inning of his start prior. So, I mean, we're on 33 consecutive innings from Brandon Pfaadt not giving up an earned run. He probably will give one up here just because, it's the Red Sox and the Monsters involved and whatnot. But I do think he holds his own against Peyton Tolle in a really great pitcher's duel. I love this spot. It's a great game. I think Arizona trying to salvage and avoid the sweep should not be at plus 130. So we're going to absolutely pounce on it. Snakes plus 130 on the road. Third best bet of the video. Let's take another money line. Cincinnati versus St. Louis. This is the second time in this 5-game series that we have looked at the Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. And yes, I'm going to take the home team in Cincinnati here. Yes, their bats are ice cold every other night. We don't pick against Chase Burns, and when we see pitchers like Chase Burns, we take them as long as the line is playable. I already have it circled on my calendar next week. I may go just because I really want to watch Chase Burns. Chase Burns is pitching in San Francisco next Monday. Adrian Hauser / Tugboat Wilkinson might be the starter for the San Francisco Giants. Whatever, it's fine. Shout out to Matt Wilkinson making his debut tonight for the Giants. What is he, like 6'2", 300 pounds? I'm probably overestimating a little bit. Regardless, I'm surprised he's actually starting to. I thought they were going to use Wilkinson out of the bullpen. Tugboat Wilkinson, who they got in some trade. I forget who they got Wilkinson for. Regardless, pitched for Canada in the WBC. I've already got next week's game on Monday scheduled between the Reds and the Giants. I may attend just to watch Chase Burns. I'm hoping the Reds are anywhere near playable in that spot. Chase Burns versus Adrian Hauser / Tugboat Wilkinson. Please give me the Reds at minus 130 at the minimum. Like, I'll take minus 130, regardless. Give me the Reds here. We don't pick against Chase Burns. Only when he pitches against the Nationals do we pick against Chase Burns, because that's the thing. 2 weeks ago, the Nationals were beating Chase Burns. You want to hear something too? Okay. Chase Burns has had a couple blow-up starts this year, but for the most part, he's been really good. Who beat him up? The Nationals. Chase Burns, the Reds won pretty much every game with Chase Burns on the mound this year, except the Nats. Actually, we had the NRFI that game. We didn't take the Nationals in that one. We took the Nationals the day after to get the sweep. Regardless, Burns 2 starts ago against the Nats. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs. Dylan Cruz with a very hard hit double. Nats jump all over Burns. What does he do in his next start? Last Friday against the Marlins? 7 shutout. So, there you go. I mean, some pitchers just pitch well against everybody but the Nats. I think Chase Burns does fairly well tonight against the St. Louis Cardinals. Yesterday, it's another Cardinals victory, so the series is now 2-1. They will play again tomorrow to close the 5-game set. Of course, they played the doubleheader on Monday. First game won by St. Louis. Second game won by Cincinnati. But yesterday, a 3-0 victory for St. Louis. I was very close to taking the Cardinals yesterday. I didn't do it. I took the Royals instead, which, it worked out. Shout out to Bobby Witt Jr. and the Royals. I'm telling you, man, KC, what if they go on a run? They can make the playoffs. They're only 9 games out. But Cardinals win yesterday 3-0. Okay, they've used a lot of their bullpen. Because of the doubleheader and because of the fact that Leahy only goes 5 innings yesterday, you got to go to Stanek, who has pitched in back-to-back games. Soriano's pitching back-to-back days. Both those guys have pitched in back-to-back days. And Riley O'Brien has pitched in back-to-back days. This bullpen is screwed tonight. And for the Reds on the flip side, Andrew Abbott goes 6 1/3. He eats innings. And then you go for 2 2/3 of Zach Maxwell. You eat so much for the Reds, right? This, in the Reds bullpen was kind of screwed going into the series, but yesterday was a huge relief for Cincinnati bullpen-wise, to the point where I'm pretty confident, so when Chase Burns goes out, and Burns should be able to eat innings himself because, of course, he's one of the most effective pitchers in the sport, but if Burns goes 7, I'm cool with who's going 8-9 for the Reds. Okay, there's a lot of pressure today on St. Louis and on Matthew Liberatore. Matthew Liberatore's going to have to wear it some if he gets blown up early, because the Cardinals just don't have pitchers. Liberatore's got a 5 ERA on the season with a 1.5 whip. They need him to go deep in this game. They need him to. Liberatore hasn't gone more than 6 this season. That's a problem for them. Because even if he goes 6, I don't know who's pitching 7, 8, 9. Soriano out, Stanek out, Riley O'Brien out. He has a couple arms you can go to, but I don't know who's going to fill 3 innings. You might have to ask a reliever to go multiple innings today if you are St. Louis. That's a problem. It's a huge problem for them. And it's to the point where I don't know why the Reds are only at minus 135. Actually, I do know. It's their bats, regardless of who's pitching for the opposition and who's on the mound for Cincinnati. It is their bats, and their bats is, continuous struggles. Yesterday, again, I mean, it's an every other day thing for the Reds, right? Game 1 of the series, they score 1 run. They score 1 run in the bottom of the 4th with a Dane Myers home run. They lose the game 2-1. Game 2 of the series in the second half of the doubleheader, Reds win 6-5. Ellie De La Cruz with a game-winning double, the walk-off double in the bottom of the 10th. Reds Reds score quite a bit in that game. They score 6, and then yesterday, the Reds revert back into being the Reds. They don't score at all. They only get 3 hits off of Leahy, and the bullpen for St. Louis completely shuts them down. There's only 1 base runner for the Reds post-Leahy coming out of the game. Again, though, that entire Cardinals bullpen has been used in the last 2 days, and the Reds were able to eat innings with Abbott and Maxwell. That's absolutely huge. The pen advantage goes to Cincinnati. I mean, obviously, the starting pitching matchup significantly trends in the right direction for Cincinnati, but on top of that as well, the starting pitching matchup, the bullpen matchup, phenomenal spot for the Reds too. We just need this team to figure out some way to score runs. Some way, somehow, they need to put some runs together. I like Cincinnati better against a left-handed pitcher. I do. You flip Ellie over to the right side, whatever, but Sal Stewart gets a better shot. Eugenio Suarez, Olivier Marte, Matt McClain, Tyler Stevenson. Sure, Blade doesn't get to make the impact, of course, but there's some better matchups, I think, as a whole for Cincinnati now. I think so. Liberatore with his 5.07 ERA, sign me up for that. He's been a little bit better recently, don't get me wrong, but I mean, 2 starts ago at home against the Rockies, he gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. So I think it's a good spot for the Reds, and of course as well, Chase Burns is on the mound for Cincinnati, who is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball this season. Okay, that speaks for itself. The chart for Chase Burns is crazy, of course. The more red, the better, and that's exactly what Chase Burns has. Expected ERA of 3.06, which is, of course, is slightly higher than his actual ERA, but I mean, it's hard to have a lower expected ERA than 2.47. Burns has been elite this season, and I do believe he continues to be elite tonight. So you look at this chart for Chase Burns and compare it to the chart of Matthew Liberatore. Oh, all red, all blue. That's a problem. Liberatore's expected ERA is 4.85, which again is a little bit lower than his actual ERA of 5.1, but still an expected ERA obviously of 4.85 isn't good. Expected batting average against on Liberatore is 266. So much blue. So much blue on the chart. Cannot trust that in the slightest. So Cincinnati's had a huge advantage in this game in every facet, okay? The one spot where we can be a little bit concerned is with just both lineups, but Chase Burns should be able to neutralize the St. Louis squad at the plate. Yeah, J.J. Weatherholt's a problem, and I really like the top 4, truthfully, for St. Louis. Weatherholt, Herrera, all-star this season. Luis Garcia should have gotten it instead of him, but it's fine. Alec Burleson's had a great year. Jordan Walker, of course, home run derby champion, and he's bounced back recently after a little bit of struggles coming out of the break and coming out of the home run derby. I will say, Joshua Baez, who started his major league career with 3 consecutive home runs, he's over since getting those 3 home runs to start his major league career. So again, Baez went from 3 for 3 with 3 home runs to what is he now in his last? There's a hit by pitch in there. And I know Baez blasted one to the warning track in the second half of the doubleheader on Monday, but Baez has been held hitless since. He goes 0 for 3 yesterday. He is 0 for 12 in the series. He's 0 for 18 since homering in 3 straight at-bats. And to make matters worse for him, here comes Chase Burns. If I'm St. Louis, I sit Baez today. Give him a day off. Give him a day to refresh. You'll be fine. We're going to throw, Chase Burns is throwing for the other team. You don't need to be in there today. Everything favors Cincinnati, and if they don't win this game, there is seriously something wrong. Because again, the one slight advantage the Cardinals have, yes, is that their lineup is better and their top 4 is better, but they're facing Chase Burns and a completely healthy and, I understand their bullpen's not great, but a completely, limitless bullpen tonight for Cincinnati compared to a Cardinals team that has no bullpen options, or at least elite bullpen options, and Liberatore, who's got a 5 ERA going for them. Everything favors the Reds tonight. They should take it at minus 135. On to our 4th best bet of the video. We go to our NRFI for today. I know the NRFI did not cash yesterday. Nick Martinez has made a season out of tricking the advanced metrics and, it doesn't make sense, but the numbers still look good for Martinez, so we're going to trust it. Shouldn't have trusted it yesterday. Whenever I put faith into these guys who have awful savant pages, they suck. Nick Martinez. Actually, Martinez has done us quite well this year, to be honest with you. But Nick Martinez and Eduardo Rodriguez, right? I mean, I go on my spiels about, oh, look at the advanced metrics. And then when we play against them, they're phenomenal. We bet on them. They're not that good. I will say Martinez has done us a solid all year long. Erod, I can't get an Erod start one time ever. It's okay. Today we're looking at an NRFI between the Seattle Mariners and the Milwaukee Brewers. I understand minus 145 is not the greatest. There is not another NRFI I trusted today. The closest thing to it for me was Guardians versus Giants. I don't trust Tugboat Wilkinson in his first game. I don't. And I wouldn't have trusted Hauser if it stayed Hauser as a starter. I believe, again, Wilkinson is going to be coming out of the bullpen for the Giants this year. He's just an opener. I don't think Wilkinson's going more than 3 innings, okay? But they're going to open with Wilkinson to get the better matchup early, lefty-lefty on Stephen Kwan. I get it. I'm not going to push the button here on another Guardians NRFI. I'm just going to stick with this. Yeah, again, minus 145 is not the greatest. I just don't know what other NRFI would pay today. Originally, the Rangers were supposed to pitch Jacob deGrom today against the Nationals. That got flipped to Kumar Rocker. I'm not doing that anymore. When it was deGrom and Cavalli, and I know, again, we've been screwed on a lot of deGrom NRFIs this year. I was probably still going to take it. But now with Kumar Rocker, I know the Nats got shut out yesterday. They are very due for an explosive night. I have a feeling they hit Kumar Rocker quite a bit today. I'm not taking the NRFI there. So the best NRFI is this one. It is by far Brewers and Mariners. The one concern, by far, is Randy Arozarena. It's the concern when we pick against the Mariners with the money line. I know yesterday, one of the most sweat-free money lines we've taken in the entire year. But actually, no, not really. Okay, I understand they won by 22 runs. But that game is 1-0 going into the bottom of the 5th. And the Mariners had opportunities. Brewers scored in the first because Cal Raleigh drops a routine play at the plate, we'll call it. Jake Bauer scores. It's a clear error on Raleigh. I mean, it is an easy tag, and Raleigh just drops the baseball. And the Mariners had opportunities. Ultimately, Milwaukee, after that 1-run scores in the bottom of the first, they scored 21 runs in the 5th to 8th innings. And you get the hilarious moment of Christian Yelich hitting a sacrifice fly into center field. Julio Rodriguez catching the ball to get an out for Leo Rivas, who was pitching. Julio catches it, thinking he has 3 outs, with, mind you, still bases loaded. Julio catches it and throws it into the stands. That's a 2-bag error. It wipes the bases empty for the Brewers there. So on a routine sacrifice fly that only should have scored 1, instead it scores 3. Hilarious stuff. But the Brewers ultimately win the game yesterday 22-0. NRFI does not cash, of course, because Cal Raleigh decides to drop a ball at home plate. We didn't have it. We lost anyways on Nick Martinez versus the Blue Jays. By the way, Toronto did that all with 2 outs. So, yeah, Alejandro Kirk and George Springer, 2 guys who were awful for us over the weekend against the Yankees, do that. Okay, that's great. On Sunday against the Yankees, at least. Regardless. I like this NRFI a lot, though. Logan Gilbert's the one pitcher who is exempt from the Brian Wu curse, not pitching well on the road. It feels like Brian Wu's overcoming the curse, in all fairness, after his dominant showing in the Bronx last week, and then a really good outing in Houston on Sunday Night Baseball. But Logan Gilbert's been the one guy all year long who hasn't been bad on the road, right? We saw yesterday, Bryce Miller not good on the road. Emerson Hancock has not been good on the road. George Kirby's had his moments on the road where he's been awful. Look at that Rangers game where Jock Peterson leads off the game with the home run and hits another one in the 3rd inning, right? These Mariners pitchers have sucked on the road all year long, except for this guy, Logan Gilbert, who is their best starter. By far, Logan Gilbert's the best guy on this staff. Gilbert coming off a 6-inning shutout performance against the New York Yankees in the getaway day game. That was a handful. On Thursday, the Thursday day game against the Yankees, Logan Gilbert goes 6 shutout. Again, best pitcher on this Mariners staff, and the one guy who actually is better on the road. 4 ERA for Logan Gilbert at T-Mobile Park this season, 2.25 ERA away from Seattle. Again, he's the inverse Brian Wu. 0.99 whip on the year for Gilbert with a 3.28 ERA. That sounds familiar, 3-28. Sorry, that was a very 2016 odd joke. Regardless, 2017 joke. 17. I think Logan Gilbert's going to get outs early. The Brewers, like we say all the time, they need multiple hits to piece together runs. Unless Jackson Chourio goes yard, which it feels like, every other time we take a Brewers NRFI, Jackson Chourio takes us deep. But Logan Gilbert's a guy that I have enough confidence in. I think he can get the outs. It will be Churang, Chourio, Bowers, Contreras, Yelich. Okay, I'm okay with that. I do feel pretty comfortable with Logan Gilbert getting outs against against that bunch of players. Flip side, Dustin May starting for the Brewers. Again, yes, there's a little bit of concern with the Brewers bats, but ultimately I do expect Logan Gilbert to get 3 outs. I expect Dustin May to go through an inept Mariners lineup, who again lose 22-0 yesterday. Their one concern will always be Randy Arozarena, though. It will always be Randy. Randy has continuously gotten us in the first inning a lot. Not with NRFIs, but actually when we just pick against the Mariners, we had the Yankees one game and Arozarena went deep in the first inning for a 2-run shot. Obviously on Sunday night, we had the Astros and Arozarena hit a ball 94 miles an hour off the bat and somehow it got out into the Crawford boxes, right? The Mariners had some really Mickey Mouse home runs in that game with both the Raleighs and Arozarenas. But again, the game was in Houston, and that's just the game you play at Daikin Park with those Crawford boxes and left. But regardless, Arozarena is the main concern. Randy batting .275 on the year with an .820 OPS and 17 home runs. And it feels like most of Randy's home runs come in that first inning. Dustin May, career-wise against Arozarena, trust me, I looked this one up, 0 for 1. So not much familiarity, my goodness, English, in the matchup. I will say Dustin May's been good as a Brewer. He's been really good as a Brewer. 2.08 ERA after being traded, of course, from St. Louis to Milwaukee, an in-division trade in the National League Central. May against the Pirates goes 6 innings, 3 hits, and 2 runs. That's his first start as a Brewer. Last start against the Padres, 7 innings, 4 hits, and 1 run for May at Petco Park in San Diego. Just need him to get 3 outs. It will likely be... I think they're just going to continue to bat Brendan Donovan in the leadoff spot. Probably. Yeah. It'll be Donovan, Arozarena, Canzone, Rodriguez. I have a feeling Dan Wilson's just throwing out the same lineup against everyone now, because that's the lineup he threw out against a lefty, and that's usually the lineup I would expect against a right-handed arm, because Kyle Harrison, of course, started yesterday for the Brewers. Fine by me. So that's the lineup we'll see here. Donovan, not too concerned. Arozarena, always concerned. Canzone hits the ball really hard, but Canzone doesn't really elevate the baseball that much. He's just going to hit the ball hard in the gap, which is a concern. Actually, I think he's hit more home runs than Arozarena this year. He has. At least recently, Randy's been homering more than Canzone, I believe, right? Yeah, okay, Canzone's only hit 1 home run in the month. Yeah, makes sense. Canzone hits the ball very hard, though, I will tell you that. And then in the 4th spot, likely Julio. Okay. I think Dustin May gets the outs. He's been pretty good as a Brewer. Of course, the Brewers pitching lab, it's not like May needed fixing this year, but he has been significantly better, I will say, as a Brewer. But even at the tail end of his Cardinals career, okay, second to last start with the Cardinals, 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Reds. Last start as a Cardinal, 5 shutout innings against the Chicago Cubs, only allowing 1 hit. So he's been pretty good in his last 4 with both St. Louis and Milwaukee. I think that translates yet again today against the Seattle Mariners. And Logan Gilbert's the one pitcher I truly trust on the road for Seattle, even though we might go against the Brian Wu equation next time he is on the road. That will happen in about a week and a half. Wu's next start, I believe Wu's next 2 starts will be at T-Mobile. Regardless, Brewers and Mariners NRFI at -145. I know the odds are not the most appealing, but it's just the best I can find. I don't trust anything else today, so we'll take it. -145 between the Mariners and the Brewers. On to our final best bet of the video. It is our Washington Nationals best bet, and I will get the Nationals end of their losing streak, okay? We will be on the right side of history when the Nationals drop or end the losing streak, okay? And that will happen today. No, okay. If the Nationals don't win this today, we're not trying again for a while on Nationals money line. I tried to include Jackson Kent in the category of good pitchers for the Nationals, and I hope he will be a good pitcher someday. It's just that day's not right now. Maybe that day will happen on Sunday in Miami against the Marlins. Maybe, but it's just not right now for Jackson Kent. We'll see. He's going to get back-to-back starts against Miami coming up. We'll see how he fares there. If he doesn't pitch well against the Marlins in back-to-back starts, yeah, I don't foresee him getting a start in September against the Braves if he's not able to handle Miami in back-to-back outings. And I will be, right now, Jackson Kent is scheduled to pitch, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Jackson Kent is supposed to be pitching in San Diego when I'm watching the Nationals. So, please no. Or turn around, Jackson. I don't know what to tell you. I was really high on him, and I still am. He's been awful so far. He just walks a million batters, looks a little bit nervous out there. It's fine, whatever. That's what, we've already thrown away this season, so who cares at this point? The Nationals got to win a game eventually. If they don't win today, I don't know when they win another game, truthfully. But the one guy, and this probably will continue. Andrew Alvarez might be an exception. I might try to pick Andrew Alvarez, but I'm not going to be picking Andrew Alvarez tomorrow because Jacob deGrom's the starter for the Rangers, so I'm okay. Cade Cavalli is the exception right now to Nationals money line. And I know, yes, I picked them yesterday, and I did pick them in the Mets series. Okay. We're putting the Nationals back on Cade Cavalli only watch. Okay. Cade's the one guy we trust. And I do think the Rangers are actually doing us a favor here, guys. I know the Nationals got shut out yesterday by Cal Quantrill. Okay, Kumar Rocker is worse than Cal Quantrill, which, oh my goodness, we got shut out by Cal Quantrill. Quantrill didn't go all 9, but still, just whatever. We would have scored 1 run in the 8th if Andres Chaparro didn't get massively unlucky with that ground rule double. Nasim was going to score quite easily from first, but somehow that ground rule double took 3 bounces to get over the fence. Just whatever, man. Cade Cavalli's elite. What can I say? Cade is really good. And this is a guy the Nationals should be looking to extend. I don't think they're going to because they don't extend anybody. And again, CJ Abrams will most likely be traded as soon as the offseason begins. Or as soon as they get out of the lockout, CJ Abrams will immediately be dealt because we're an unserious franchise. And sure, again, was it the right move to move CJ to second? Absolutely. But if it came down to CJ wanting out if he's playing second base, then sure, he can make as many errors as he wants at shortstop. Okay, we need that bat in the lineup. Or yeah, whatever, man. I'm so frustrated with this team. Not because they're losing right now. It's the fact that like I know CJ's being traded in the offseason. And again, every day I think, man, like, and I've talked about, right? We just talked about, right? Last time Peyton Tolley sucked against the Nationals. Last time Chase Burns sucked against the Nationals. Nats are still the highest scoring team in baseball. They've got still 14 runs on the Cubs. They're probably not going to hold that, but they're going to be a top 5 scoring team in baseball this season. They've stolen the most bases in baseball as well this year, and they threw away the year at the deadline. They said, no, it's not our year. When will it ever be your year? When will it ever be the Nationals' year? Never, because they have an incompetent owner who hates the fans. There we go. Cade Cavalli's great. Last outing for him took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. In the 8th inning, Cade took it. 8 innings of shutout baseball for Cavalli against the Cubs. That's against Chicago. It was great, obviously. 2.25 ERA in the month of Cavalli, 3 ERA in the month of July. He's been phenomenal. Cade's been one of the better arms in the sport. Cavalli is the new ace of the rotation for the Nationals. Man, I would love to see Foster Griffin still here, but no, we traded him. And Will Dion is pretty good as a reliever, so maybe we did win on that trade. I don't know. Right now, it feels like that Yankees-Nationals trade for Luis Garcia was a lose-lose for both teams. No, Garcia's going to be fine. Giovanni Cruz, I don't know. At least Ben Grable looks good in Double-A for the Harrisburg Senators right now out of that trade. But anyways, Cade Cavalli's elite. He's the one guy I have confidence in with the Nationals. And I don't care. The Rangers are still a team that cannot score. Oh, they scored 5 runs yesterday on the Nationals. Truth be told, they should have scored more. Jackson Kent walks 5 guys. Oh, he only walked 3. I feel like he walked more. He walked 3 guys, but gave up 8 hits, and you only score 5 runs? That's the Rangers. And they win because the Nationals can't score at all, right? Nats did have 7 hits, I will say. Nats had 7. Abrams had 2 hits. Chaparro had the ground rule double. Lyle had a hit. Cruz had a hit. Ford had a hit. Nunez had a hit. Abrams had their only hits until like the 7th inning, but whatever. I think the Nats bounce back here a little bit. I think they do. Guys, again, they're going to win a game eventually. It's just when will they do it? If it's not today, it won't be tomorrow. And maybe they'll get one over the course of that Marlins series. We're just going to have to pick our spot. And that's ultimately, okay, like I've been saying, Cavalli's the only guy we can trust. No, we have to pick our spots this year at the Nationals now. Because there are still going to be games where, yeah, this offense looks great, right? They still are the highest scoring team in the sport, despite the fact they've been awful recently. But Cavalli's the one guy, again, who can legit be trusted. And I'm not saying we're blindly taking Cade, but when you see a matchup with Cade Cavalli and Kumar Rocker, you got to take it. And the fact the Nationals are plus 120 is kind of crazy, but I mean, I get it because they've sucked recently. Man, if they can't hit Kumar Rocker, cancel the season. If they can't hit Rocker, who's got an 8 ERA in the month, 3 runs in 5 innings against Houston, 6 runs in 3 innings against Baltimore, 3 runs in 5 innings against the Athletics. Rangers have lost 3 in a row with the former Vanderbilt Commodore and Kumar Rocker on the mound. If you can't beat Rocker, we have a problem. Here's the chart for Rocker if you're curious. A lot of blue. A lot of blue for Kumar Rocker. If you can't beat him, we have a problem. I think they will, and I've been waiting for it, right? The A bullpen, even though it's the A stands for ass for the Nationals, right? Normally you think, great bullpen. No, the A bullpen's the ass bullpen for the Nationals. Our best guys are ready to pitch today, though, right? Clayton Beeter can pitch today. Orlando Ribalta can pitch today. Will Dion. I'm including Will Dion in our elite relievers now. Dion should be getting, who's A short pitcher. You barely see 5'9" pitchers in baseball, but that's what Will Dion is. He is our best left-handed reliever. Yes, he's better than Tom Cosgrove. Tom Cosgrove. Our best 3 relievers can pitch today. Beater, Rabalta, Dion. If you need Cosgrove, he can pitch. If you need Rabalta, he can pitch as well. Everyone is available out of the bullpen today for the Nationals. So, other than Trevor Williams, who, man, Trevor Williams as a reliever, respect. 1.84 ERA for Trevor Williams. He's been really good as a reliever this season. He got his 10 years of service. Shout out to him. I don't know if the Nationals should keep him. They probably actually should. They need a veteran. Seems like the front office likes him. Feels like the players like Trevor Williams. I guess keep him around. Yeah, I guess, you need a veteran somewhere somewhere, and I'm sure Trevor is not going to say no to a kind of a cheap deal, because I don't think Trevor Williams, well, actually, no, Trevor Williams is going to get an opportunity somewhere, though, if it's not the Nationals next season. So maybe he wants to get out of this shithole. Not like DC's a shithole. I really like DC. Just Mark Lerner's team is a shithole. What can I say? Other than that, to win this game, though, against Kumar Rocker, this lineup, though, man. Abrams gets back on track yesterday with 2 hits. Awesome. CJ's OPS back over. It's not actually back over 900 yet. It's getting there. Abby Ortiz had a bad game yesterday against his former squad. I think Ortiz will be fine today. I hope they hit Chaparro today, too. Just throw both of them in the lineup, please. Right? Just first base, Chaparro, DH, or Abby Ortiz, please. They'll probably start Jose Tena today. I hope they keep Brady House in the lineup and just throw Tena in the outfield. That's my hope. I have to watch Jorbit Vivas and Nasim Nunez. Oh, my goodness. But the Rangers lineup isn't good. I don't care what anybody says. They got 5 runs off of an awful Jackson Kent yesterday, and I still have high hopes, but I don't really have high hopes. I still have hopes for Jackson Kent going forward, but ultimately I'm thinking, okay, you only get 5 off of him? I think Cavalli shoves. I think Cade's going to go 7 innings of 1-run baseball here. And that should be enough for the Nationals to win the game. Yes, again, they don't score any runs 7 through 9. So if the Nationals aren't winning after the 6th inning or going into the 7th inning, the game's over. But I think they score early on Rocker. I think Abrams or Ortiz take him deep. Maybe Dalen. And I'm taking the Nationals to win at plus 120. I think it's great value. And I know they've struggled recently, but there's no way Cade Cavalli should be an underdog against Kumar Rocker. So Nats at plus 120 to close the day. Folks, that does it for our MLB Best Bets on August 19th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video, and make sure to comment if you disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow with more daily MLB Best Bets. Folks, thank you all for watching, and Mamba forever.